I'm 102 years old. People always ask me what my biggest regret is. It's not that I didn't make enough money. It's not that I didn't travel the world. My biggest regret is that I lived like I had more time. I'm about to tell you a truth people only admit when they're already in a coffin. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. It's brutal. It's loud enough to wake you up at 3 a.m. You are living like you're immortal. You think you have time, unlimited time. It took me a century to learn this. Life has no pause, no rewind, only delete. Miss it once, and the screen goes black, forever. In 1955, I bought a silk dress. It cost me 3 months' salary. The day I brought it home, my husband Robert smiled like a boy. He said, "Dorothy, put it on. Let's go dancing." I said no. It's too special. I'll save it for the perfect occasion. So I buried it in my closet under a thick dust cover. For 20 years, he asked me to wear it. Anniversaries, parties, sunny weekends. And every time I said, "Not yet." There was one evening I remember clearly, a summer evening, windows open, the radio playing softly. Robert came home early. He saw the dress hanging outside the closet. He smiled the way he always did when he liked something but didn't want to push. He said, "That dress looks lonely just hanging there." I laughed and told him it was waiting for a grand night, a ballroom, music, something worthy. He nodded. But then he said, "Dorothy, I don't need a ballroom. I just need you." We ended up dancing anyway, right there in the kitchen. No dress, no music except the radio. He held my hand like it was glass. Careful. Warm. I remember thinking, we'll do this properly one day. With the dress. With the right moment. I didn't know that was the right moment. Robert wasn't a grand man. He wasn't rich. He wasn't famous. But he was steady. The kind of man who fixed things instead of throwing them away. Shoes, radios, even broken chairs. He used to say, "If it still works, it still deserves a place." We met at a bus stop. I was late for work. He was early for everything. He offered me his umbrella on a rainy morning and walked himself home half-soaked. That was Robert, always thinking of the other person first. He never forgot to warm my side of the bed in winter. He'd sneak in early, lie on my side for a minute, then switch back, pretending nothing happened. I noticed. I just never said anything. I thought there would be time to thank him later. On Sunday mornings he made terrible coffee, too weak, too watery. But he always brought it to me like it was a gift, and I drank it like it was perfect. We didn't have a dramatic love story. We had a quiet one. And quiet love is easy to take for granted, because it feels like it will always be there. One morning in 1985, Robert was pruning branches in the garden. He just collapsed. Heart attack. No goodbye, no last words. The morning of his funeral, I opened the closet. I took out that dress that had been waiting for 20 years. The tag was still on it. I put it on. That was the first time that dress ever saw the light of day. I wore the dress I saved for a grand celebration, standing by my husband's grave, watching them lower his coffin into the ground. That was the special occasion I had been waiting for. A week later, the family left. The house was quiet. Too quiet. It felt like a tomb. That night I was hungry, but I didn't want to cook. So I heated a frozen meal. The microwave beep sounded violent in the silence. I opened the display cabinet, and I took out the English bone china. 20 years, never used once. We bought it in 1965, when Robert got a bonus. We went to a high-end department store. It was so beautiful, white as snow, rimmed with real gold. It cost Robert 2 months of wages. When we brought it home, I carried it like I was holding the crown jewels. Robert said, "Let's eat on it tonight." And I almost shouted, "No, this is for special guests. We'll use it when the bishop visits or the mayor." So it stayed behind glass, like a museum piece. For 20 years, I polished it, every week, watching it shine, feeling proud, thinking it was mine. But that night, I poured cheap macaroni onto that gold plate. I sat on the kitchen floor, eating the worst meal of my life on the most expensive plate I owned. And I cried. Not just because Robert was gone, but because the plates outlived him. They outlived our romance, our laughter, our candlelight nights. We protected them perfectly. And for what? They became cold objects. That's when I learned, saving the good things isn't cherishing. It's postponing joy until it turns into regret. You might think a person changes after a loss like that. That only happens in movies. In real life, we forget. Even now, at 102, I still make the same mistake. Last week, my granddaughter brought me a slice of very expensive cake, Black Forest, covered in fresh strawberries. I took 2 bites. It was heaven. And then, guess what I did? That damned voice in my head came back. It whispered, "Dorothy, this is too good. Don't eat it all. Save half. Save it for tomorrow afternoon with some tea." So I did. I put the rest in the fridge. That night, I got a terrible stomach bug. I was sick all night. Couldn't eat for days. When I remembered the cake, it was covered in mold. The cream had collapsed and smelled sour. I looked at the trash can, and I saw my dress, my china, my past. I told myself, tomorrow is a luxury you don't own. After I threw it away, I stood there for a long time, staring at the trash like it was a mirror. I wasn't seeing cake. I was seeing my life. There's a memory I don't visit often, but it visits me. It was a Tuesday, nothing special about it. Robert came home early from work. That almost never happened. He looked excited, like a boy hiding a secret. He said, "Don't cook tonight." I asked why. He told me a new diner had opened 2 towns away. "They make real milkshakes," he said. "Thick ones, the kind you can't drink, only spoon." I remember laughing. I told him it was too far to drive just for a milkshake. I said we had leftovers, and laundry, and dishes, grown-up things, responsible things. He didn't push. He never did. He just nodded and said, "All right, maybe this weekend." We ate leftovers at the small kitchen table, the one with the scratch on the corner. He talked about work. I talked about prices at the grocery store. It was an ordinary dinner. So ordinary I barely remember what we ate. A week later he got busy. Then I got busy. Then life did what life does. We never went. Years later, after he was gone, I was cleaning a drawer, and I found a little paper napkin from that diner with their logo on it. He had already been there. He must have tried it first to see if I'd like it. I sat at the table holding that napkin, and I could see him, standing at a counter, tasting a milkshake, smiling to himself, thinking of me. Do you know what hurt? Not the milkshake, the invitation, the small moment he wanted to share. Sometimes when I pass a diner, I still think about it. Not with tears, just a quiet ache. Because life is made of those tiny invitations, and you never know which one is the last. When you reach my age, memories don't line up. They float. I don't remember the dresses I protected. I remember the cheap dress I wore when Robert and I got caught in the rain and laughed like children. I don't remember the plates behind glass. I remember the night we burned dinner and ate toast instead by candlelight. Life remembers what you experience, not what you store. When Robert was alive, we always thought there would be more time, more Sundays, more dinners, more small talks before sleep. We were never in a hurry to love each other. We thought love was permanent. But love isn't permanent. People aren't permanent. Even memories fade if you don't keep making new ones. Do you know what the hardest part of growing old is? It's not the wrinkles. It's not the pain in your knees. It's watching the world move on without the people who once made it feel full. Sometimes I sit by the window in the late afternoon when the light turns golden, and for a second, I almost expect Robert to walk in and ask what's for dinner. Then I remember, and the house feels quiet again. If I could talk to my younger self, I wouldn't give her financial advice. I wouldn't tell her how to be successful. I would only say, use the good perfume, wear the nice clothes, say the words you're afraid to say. Take the photo, but then put the camera down and feel the moment. Because one day, your biggest regret won't be what you spent. It will be what you postponed. Time doesn't steal life from you. You hand it over every time you say, later, someday, next time. And one day, you run out of next times. When my great-granddaughter Sophie visits, she sits here. But she isn't here. She holds her phone, taking 100 photos of the sunset outside my window. She's busy editing, busy posting for people who barely notice her. I look at her, and my heart breaks. I said, Sophie, the sunset is out there, not in that little glass box. She just mumbled, just a sec, Grandma, I gotta reply to this. Just a sec. The most dangerous words in the world. I looked at her and thought, you saved the sunset in your phone, but you missed the warmth of the light on your face. We saved China. You saved data. You take photos of your dinner. You record concerts. You scroll through phones at family reunions. You think you are documenting life? No, you are missing it. That photo won't remember how the wind felt in your hair. A like button won't hold you when you're lonely. When you live through a screen, you stand outside your own life. I've lived 37,595 days. That sounds like a lot. It isn't. It slips away before you notice. I would trade every dollar I have for one ordinary Tuesday. One night to wear that red dress and dance with Robert. But life doesn't take refunds. So listen, this is not a rehearsal. There is no opening night. This is your only live show. Send this to someone you love. Tell them, I don't want to save life for later. I want you now. Put your phone down. Open the wine. Wear the dress. Say the words. Take the trip. Make the call. Go live your life before life decides for you.